So next up is one of our CIECT members, and Clint, and he will speak about our, Juliet mentioned it this morning, the digital media literacy program that was implemented this year for the first time. So we'll speak about the lessons that learned. Thank you.
Thank you, Norika. Okay. Good morning still. Okay, so 4 months ago we launched this pilot. First time we're rolling it out, digital media literacy. So if you were there for the launch, you would have gotten all the information about what it is that we aim to do in the course. But just for those of you that maybe weren't there, we've got a relationship with the arts faculty, the ECP program, the Extended Curriculum Program, Communication Studies, and for 14 years we have taught a web design module for the students. So many moons ago they approached our faculty, our department, and they said they would like these students to learn something worthwhile after they've completed the DAL course, Digital Academic Literacy course, and a skill that they could even take outside of university if they decide not to extend their stay at the university. And so at the time, the people heading the unit, they sat together with the faculty and they came up with web design. And for 14 years, I also came in and joined that. We taught web design. And so 2 years ago, we started thinking like, is web design still relevant? Because if you watch a video on YouTube, there's this annoying person that pops up and says like, you can build your own site with Wix. And so there's all these tools nowadays that eliminate the programming knowledge, the HTML, all the things we covered in that course, you can do from a front-end user perspective nowadays. And so we decided to review what we were offering to the faculty and try something new. And so I'm a multimedia graduate from that other place across the road. And I did my national diploma in 2000. I finished it in 2003. And in 2016, I went back and did my Bachelor of Technology. And someone in the course said, like, one of the guys that was also from those early years when I did it, said, you know what we did in 3 years, they do in the first year now. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And I thought, like, what if we could teach those multimedia skills to our students here in the ECP program? And so we came up with the idea of digital media literacy. Now, we have another workshop that we offer to staff, and that course is the multimedia teaching tool. Some of you may have attended that workshop that we offer over 2 days. So the course that we then conceptualized for the student is really an extended version of that course, and we cover a number of different tools within there. And again, in line with this whole new movement of the fourth industrial revolution, we wanted to equip the students with skills that prepares them for the workforce, and this workforce that is more and more becoming an electronic workforce. So our rationale for offering the course was also that many of the lecturers here at the university currently are offering multimedia type assignments to their students. And what often happens is in the 11th hour before that assignment is due, that Friday afternoon, they all descend on the e-learning department. How do I do a podcast? How do I do a digital story? How do I create my website? And we have to run around like headless chickens supporting all of these students. And so we thought it would be great if we actually then build this into the curriculum with the arts faculty and equip the students once off with a skill set that they might need to use further along the line. in their academic career. So what we hope to achieve with this course was basically to equip students with with a skill set to produce effective digital media content which may be required of them for e-assessment processes during the academic journey, but also a skill set that should enable them to produce digital media content by applying critical thinking and following suitable production processes. Emphasis on suitable production processes, because very often the staff think that this new generation, Generation Z, are so tech savvy that they don't need any training, they can just figure it out on their own. But our students come from varying backgrounds. If you look at our students, some come from a very privileged background, others touch a computer for the first time when they are in the digital academic literacy course. So we had 4 main areas that we focused on. We started off with digital images and image editing, audio production, video production, and lastly, still an aspect of website creation and online platforms. And we used 2 underlying themes, one which was WMI, and the other one was a social justice topic that the students felt passionate about, that they could use to produce the content on. Now the WMI, I must admit, I wasn't prepared for the types of stories that came our way. And I think every lecturer should actually do this exercise with your students. We had them take images of themselves, we had them produce a podcast, and then they also turned that podcast's audio they used to produce a digital story. The types of stories, I was literally upset at times, and I literally cried at times for the backgrounds that our students come from. Abusive backgrounds, poverty, things that you were just not prepared for. But it gave me a whole new insight into the lives and backgrounds of our students. So there was another template that you could use for Prezi. It was called Mission to Mars, and I think that one would have been more fitting because this course, once we got into it, felt a bit like it was a mission to Mars. So basically, one of the big things that we encountered was that we had 12 weeks to do the course, and that seemed much, but we only saw the students for 1 hour a week. And that started to become a major obstacle. And so therefore we had to tap into the LMS as far as possible. So discussion forums, announcements, all of those communication tools we used, but whether the students actually listened was another thing. So very often you send out an announcement, as you ask the students, did you get it? No, I never got it. But it goes straight to your email because we activate that notification. Students simply just don't read their emails. We also had 232 students in the program, and we were only 2 facilitators and also the tutors that we needed from DAL. And so with 2 main facilitators, when one gets sick, then the other one often needs to teach all the classes, or like my director often says, when life happens and you just can't make it to work that day, the other one ends up having to do all of the classes. And on a Monday we had classes for the most part of the day. Okay, tutor assistance. We did our multimedia workshop that we do with the staff, with the tutors in the June holidays to prepare them for support on this course. However, we found that at the end, or whenever students went for consultation, often the tutors themselves struggled to help the students out. And so this is something that we will need to revisit next year to better equip the students. Time management and discipline from students seem to be the biggest obstacle. Students just don't pitch for class. On average, on a weekly basis, maybe 50% of students actually attended classes. There's 67 students that never came to class and never did anything. Also, the resources that we needed, as far as possible, we tried to use freeware and open source software tools. And that was also, the software was okay. The hardware was another thing, because once the students left that venue, they often didn't have access to machines where they could do editing. And so that was another thing that we'll be looking at. I'm actually out of time. But what we did is we also tapped into a lot of mobile technology. So students actually, we created a discussion forum where students could share tools that they found where they could do the assignments with their actual mobile phones. So just quickly, basically what we've learned is that in order to conduct a course like this effectively, we need multimedia equipped labs, and not just for the teaching, but also for students to access when they actually need to do the assessments. We only did formative assessments, so every week you had a little task, and at the end you brought it all together in a portfolio website. So yeah, students were a bit gobsmacked that there wasn't like one massive assignment at the end. Because a lot of them just showed up in the last 2 weeks thinking that, okay, if I come to those 2 classes, I can do the final assignment. More face time with the students is definitely needed. Better equipped tutors and possibly more staff would make it great for us. I just wanted to show you, most of the students thought that the course was great. However, there were some of them that were blatantly honest, that said that we were very boring, they didn't enjoy it at all, we should have made it more challenging, more creative, but you need to strike a balance with your students that come from a less privileged background, and the learning pace is different for them, so you need to strike a balance, and that is also something we need to look at when we revisit because it is a pilot that we offered this year. We actually asked them to be as honest as possible so that we can improve going forward for the next lot. So I am out of time. I just wanted to show you quick. This is one of the websites. So they built websites, and on the websites they packaged everything they learned during the course. So the image editing, the podcasts. So the podcasts are on here as well. I'm not going to play them. And then also the videos that they produced. So 10 minutes is very short time for me to go through all of this, but I thank you, and if you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask me during the next break.